What's up, everybody? Yes, indeed, I am back, man. Just a quick reminder, this is a fitness channel with a twist, people, okay? So let's not get it twisted. But before I go and move on, I must let you know what the twist is going to be about. Today, Mr. Gunner's Collective is going to be the talk. I'm going to speak on his standings and what my stance is about his standings. I just did one last week about dubs, and I actually got some good feedback behind it. Hopefully it gets to where it needs to get to, because you know, the stuff gets old here on social media with the funny bunnies, the trollos, and the mashicas. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's just entertainment. It's therapeutic for me, so it is what it is. But anyways, people, with that being said, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, put your notification bell on all, and also hit that hype button. Once we reach that 10,000 goal mark, I will start doing lives. On my lives, everyone is welcome to pull up. All I ask is to come with respect and walk the yarda, my yarda. I'm not referring to the J-Cats out there that are trying to create something ridiculous, especially when it's coming from somebody from a whole different demographic, and I know that's not the system that they run. And for individuals from down here to tag along with that makes me wonder about certain individuals. It is what it is, you know what I'm saying? It took me a minute just to entertain the title of the YouTube yada, but I guess I'm gonna have to accept their kid games on what they do. I mean, whether I like it or not, I choose not to like it, but let them do their thing. Anyways, people, with that being said, man, like I said, this is a fitness channel with a twist. If you want to get started in your fitness journey and you want to get them results that you haven't been able to achieve, hit me up, man. I have a 3-month program guaranteed to work. I have a 6-month program, and I also have a 1-year program. One of the benefits about when you sign up with me, I'm gonna let you know, is if you sign up with the 3-month program, you're guaranteed to lose up to 30 pounds of fat and build muscle at the same time. If you decide to extend your program, I will prorate the cost of the program. I will act as if you signed up from day one for whichever program you decide to extend it for. That's the way I work. Hold on real quick, people. Let me get my umbrella here. I need to cover up my phone enough. But anyways, people, yeah, so that's the way I get down. Like I said, my 3-month, you can lose up to 30 pounds of fat and build muscle at the same time. At the end of that 3-month program, people, you could have the tools, the knowledge to apply this to your daily lifestyle. You won't need the extended program. The only time you're gonna need that extended program is when you want to take it to that next level, okay? And that's when you go for the 6-month and we get you dialed in. The 1-year program, we're gonna get you ripped and fit. You know, at the end of the day, it's your body, it's whatever you desire. You may not want to sign up just to build a muscle. You just may want to sign up just to lose a few pounds because you have an upcoming event. Well, I got you. I actually have individuals that are going through a physical fitness test because it's required from the job that they're trying to land. And they signed up with me just for the nutritional part, because they're beating themselves up with all this cardio and they just can't seem to drop the weight that they need to drop. You know, it's preventing them from doing their pull-ups and sit-ups and stuff like that. So that's why they reached out to me. You know what I mean? I got their nutrition dialed in, and you know, they were able to conquer their goals. So like I said, man, when you sign up with me, guaranteed you're going to get results. All you have to do is be that student, walk into my classroom, sit down, have a seat, and learn. And like I said, at the end of the 3-month program, you won't need me after that. You be that ideal student, okay? You want to keep it simple, because simple scales and fancy fails. And with my program, like I said, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Don't come in trying to tell me how to do my program. That's the reason why you signed up with me. You know, I have a look that I've acquired by applying my blueprint. It works, people. Come on, I'm over a half a century old and I look the way I do. You know, it's a no-brainer, man. I mean, who knows? You may not want to hop on my program. You might want to just go with the next coach. Hey, so be it. Wherever you're going to be comfortable with. You know, I tip my hat to anybody that makes an attempt to better their overall physical fitness. You know, because health is wealth, people. You live healthy today, you'll live longer and prosperous for the days to come. Anyways, with that being said, let's get straight to the twist. Mr. Gunnerz Collective. Okay. We all know Mr. Gunnerz Collective is not in good standings. Okay. To certain individuals, Gunnar would be considered no good. Okay. I don't like to use that other term because a POS is somebody that has bad charges on them. That's what I believe. Somebody that snitched. Okay. Those are POSs to me. As far as Gunnar comes from a whole different demographic. He falls under a totally different umbrella than I do. But we still have these individuals from here down south, the Mexicas, that believe anyone that carries a label of no good, despite of where they come from, is no good, regardless of the history of what got them to becoming no good. Now, from my understanding and from my experience, the Northern faction, the way they run their stuff is very militant. And the way I view their get down, and I'd say this with the utmost respect, people, a lot of the things that they do and what they deem their guys no good for would be very petty in my eyes. Okay. I'm not saying that it is, because they have a different belief and a different system. Now, from my understanding, because I've spoke to Gunnar on the phone, and I tap in with him every now and then, because he puts me up on game. Let's keep it real here. When it comes to this YouTube stuff, he's on point with what he does, people. When he first started, I questioned him, because I remember when he first started. And keep in mind, I tend to bounce around a lot here, people, but it is what it is. And I'm going to get to Gunnerz Collective and his standings, okay? So, let's rewind here, and we'll take it to where he's at in no good standings. I used to tune into very few. The most one that I used to tune into all the time was my boy Lucky Sanzu when he first started. You know, gradually I started, you know, not tuning in to certain individuals because I just didn't have the time. You know what I mean? Because my online coaching had started growing, so I actually had to pay more attention to my team. My team is priority. First my family, you know, then my team, you know what I mean? And of course my finances, and so on and so on. But like I said at the beginning, I would tune into Gunnar. When I first seen him, my first observation of him, I said, man, this fucking fool is tweaking. He's on a good one, right? Just by the antics he was doing, right? You know, so eventually I came to realize his behavior stemmed because he was nervous behind that camera. He was new to it. And it's kind of like me. Like sometimes you see me twitching with my arms and all that because I still haven't really gotten really comfortable with this. I've gotten way more comfortable from day one because I used to do a lot of like just abnormal stuff. So let's just put it that way. So anybody else out here from the other side of that screen would probably think I'm tweaking. Why they think I'm a tecato, I don't know. I've never seen a tecato that looked like this in my life. If I were to have ever slammed in my life, I would speak on it. Why? Because that's what keeps me sober and keeps me striving in the right direction that I need to go on. I need to be reminded of my vices that I've once suffered with, the demons that I've once dealt with. That's what keeps me solid up here and keeps me grounded. You guys need to understand that. You got to speak on your old vices. You can't just lock them away like they never existed, because it just takes that slightest temptation and you'll be right back to where you had left off. And trust and believe, the gente that you left behind that are still out there getting their wiggle on will welcome you back like if you were never gone. And you will blend right back into that crowd. I know, I've done it myself many times. But anyways, I went rambling on a whole fucking lot, huh? So anyways, Gunnerz Collective, I used to tune into him. He was a trip, you know what I mean? And I said, yeah, this fucking dude's on a sick one. Eventually, fast forward, he started growing, right? And then, you know, I would tune into my homeboy, Incredible Javier. He was always out there with the Traviesos. The best in the business right there, my younger little homeboy, man. Much love and respect to you and yours, my boy, always to the fullest. You know, like I've said in the past, I'm going to tell you today, your Jefito would be really proud of you, G. You know what I mean? Me and your Jefito, we've done some things when we were younger. And like I said, your Jefito was my older homie. But yeah, we done some things together, you know. But anyways, that's here nor there. Rest in peace, Big Cricket. You know, so I remember one time my little homie, he tapped into me and asked me, hey man, check this out, homie. What do you think of this individual? And I said, who? And he's all, Gunnerz Collective. He tapped in with me, you know what I mean? He wanted to collaborate. And I said, oh, okay. You want my honest opinion, G? So, yeah. Okay, well, I like the individual, you know what I mean? He's from up north. But I'm going to tell you something that raises flags to me, because I've never seen that, you know what I mean? I know this day of age has changed, you know, because I'm a living example. I associate with a lot of norteños and actually heavy hitters of the round table from up there. You know what I mean? I associate with Tango Blast when I'm out there in Texas. Why? Because times have changed, okay? But you got to keep in mind, when I was first viewing Gunnerz Collective and was new to this social media, you know, I found it strange that Gunnar was giving the homies from down here props, and he wasn't really speaking too much on from where he was from. So I told my homeboy, you know what, there's a good possibility that old boy may not be no good, G. And I explained to him why. And I told him exactly what I just got done telling you guys, because of his actions and his behavior and the praises and flowers that he was giving all the homies from down here down south. So like I said, it raised flags to me, because that was unheard of, getting props from homies from from up north. You know what I mean? As you could see, you still got these individuals that want to try to play that north and south bullshit down here. And I find it hilarious, you know what I mean? Because like I said, there's not a norteño in sight down here. Now the homies from up north, the upstate Southsiders, the title that I would prefer to use that than that other title, because I will never use that other title, because they don't have that label. They don't have the right to carry that label. There's a few out there that do, but the majority, no. And that goes for people down here too. People like to use that title freely, and trust and believe there's meaning behind that. Don't get yourself caught up, people. You fuck around and find out. Anyways, it's here nor there. So like I said, it was unheard of for me to see stuff like, to hear stuff like that. Jeez, you hear my neighbors? My God, they're like, I don't know what's up with them, man. They're not my neighbors, they're my tenants. But anyways, that's here nor there. It's crazy. Everything's at high volume with them. Well, anyways, I went off course a little bit right here. So I told my homie, I go, look, G, now you got to keep in mind, homies from up north, their reglas are way different than ours. Their reglas are very, very, how should I say, in my eyes would be petty compared to ours. They will label a person no good for being a yuck mouth, for just being a dirtbag. Now, when we deal with homies down here from down south that are dirtbags, they'll get beat down if they ain't wanting to follow the rules. You know, because ain't nobody gonna be no fucking dirtbag coming from where we come from. Now, by an individual from up north putting hands on another individual from up north, that would also deem them no good. So, their political stance and the way they run their things is way different than ours. So I told my homeboy, I said, you know, at the end of the day, that would be a smart move. I'm telling you now, if you wanted to collaborate with the homie. But now you got to keep in mind, if you want to be a businessman about this, it's an opportunity that you shouldn't pass up. But now, if you want to avoid certain backlash from the homies down here, because it's going to cause some type of ripples in the water, because not everybody is going to understand why you're doing what you're doing, especially if it turns out that, oh boy, is deemed no good, which he is admitted to himself. You know what I mean? He admitted to the public, you know, why he was deemed no good. I know a lot of people say he's a snitch, que whoopty whoopty whoop, something happened in YA and this and that. You know, I have no idea. You know what I mean? It really doesn't pertain to me, because he comes from a way different faction than I came from, than I come from. So, yeah, he may be deemed no good, and everybody up north will consider him no good as being a POS. To me, despite of where you come from, that POS title is a very heavy title to carry. I mean, that's the worst of worst, you know. So there's people that are no good in my eyes that were done dirty. I will never consider them POSs unless they went and told on their people, unless they had those bad charges, and we all know what those are, amongst other charges, you know, where they harm children, women, or elderly. That's a no-no. The elderly part, I'm going to tell you one thing where I would make an exception to the rule. And there was an individual that landed in the joint where I was at. He had elderly abuse charges, okay? I was well aware of his charges, but I was well aware of his story. And he actually had an alibi that co-signed what he was doing, what happened with that. Now the individual, I'm not going to say where he's from, he got the blues. He got a DP, a serious DP. Let's just put it that way. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get into detail on what we call them, this and that, because it's not for people to know, you know. There's just too much that's really said out here. And I know you guys probably already know, because everybody else tends to speak freely on this stuff. But I just won't do it. You know what I mean? I was raised differently. But anyways, the DP's even far enough. This individual had taken his beatings, but eventually we got him cleared, man, because the individual, like I said, he had followed me from the county jail to where we were at. And the individual that co-signed on what went on with him and his charges carried weight behind his name. So once we got him cleared, he was cool to walk where we were at. But now you got to keep in mind, everywhere he lands, he's going to have to get that cleared. Whether it followed through and the other homies wanted to follow through with it is entirely up to them. That's where shit gets tricky, people. But anyways, I rambled on a whole fucking lot, didn't I? We're not even talking about Gunnerz Collective anymore. Well, anyways, this individual, this is the only time I made an exception to the rule about this, is because the individual that he beat down was an elderly, and he beat the dog shit out of him, put him in the hospital. The reason why he was doing that is because that individual was beating his mom. His mom was a paraplegic in a wheelchair. So this dude went and did what he had to do. he got tired of his mom being knotted up, you know what I mean, and being scared for her life. Any man would do that, you know what I'm saying? So there it is there. Gunnerz Collective, straight to the punch. I hopped on the horn with him and we chopped it up. I got to know him. I like the individual, you know what I mean? He puts a lot of salsa on the stories, but it's entertainment. That's what I tune into. His nighttime boogies, when him and Dubs, I don't tune into. I'm not into that party atmosphere. I'm not doing them things. So the stuff that happens during them parties, it's to be expected. It goes on in real life. Alcohol plays a big factor in the way people behave. I don't care how much of a drinker you think you are, it will get the best of you. It's a truth serum, pretty much. You're going to say what's on your mind. The stuff that you've been bottling up, alcohol will help you relieve that pressure. Why? I've done it myself. I was an alcoholic at one time. And as far as people keep on saying that Gunner's a fucking tweaker, you know, hey, whether he is or he isn't, that's his business. But I'm going to tell you right now, I really hardly believe that he's a tweaker. And the reason I say this, because the last shit that I got caught up with was the fucking kukui. And that was tweaking. I became a tweaker, and there's no such thing as a fucking a functional tweaker, a responsible tweaker. And as you could see, Gunnar provides day in, day out for his family, for his kids. He's actually gotten custody of his little kids, which is unheard of through the system in California. Normally, the mom usually gets the custody, regardless of the matter. But my boy Gunnar, yes, my boy Gunnar has custody of his kids. Yes, I understand he goes to battle with certain individuals and he speaks foul at his mouth. He's made comments about people. I haven't heard him personally, but I don't doubt it. You know what I mean? Like I said, at the end of the day, we're only human beings and we can only tolerate so much. That's why every now and then I need to have my brakes pumped, you know, and my audience tends to remind me, you know, because it's real easy to get caught up in that web. And right now, I have so many things planned in the future. I got so much on my plate. I do not want to lose sight of where I'm going with this, because if it becomes a success with what I'm going to do, I may be able to open up some doors for people, you know, and have way bigger opportunities. Well, anyways, at the end of the day, man, let's get back to Gunnar, because this is already fucking 20 some minutes in, and I don't want it to be as long as Dubs was. Dubs' video went on for like 30 minutes. Dubs is Gunner's no good, okay? Boom. If Wagner were to ever cross paths with Gunnar in the system or out here, would there be any tension between us? Absolutely not. Would I break bread with Gunnar? He doesn't have no bad charges on him. He was deemed no good because of red on red. Am I going to look into it? Absolutely not. It's none of my business. We're civilians out here. We're doing our thing. I would break bread with him. I would bring him around through my hood, take him to a couple hot spots to go eat, and I guarantee he would get no tension from anybody. You know what I'm saying? If there would be anybody that would try to create any type of tension between them, it would just be for fucking, just for attention. But I really doubt it. You know what I'm saying? Because Gunnar does not fall under the umbrella that we fall under. Okay, there's a difference between Dubs and Gunnar. Dubs falls under the same umbrella as me. Dubs had paperwork that was dropped on him. Did I ever read the paperwork? No. Did I ever listen to anybody's channel breaking down his paperwork? No. All I need to know is that the paperwork is there. He paroled from a certain yard. We're out here with civilians. Will I break bread with Dubs? Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? We fall underneath the same umbrella. Yeah, there are a lot of people going to say, oh, gee, but you're retired, this and that. Yes, I understand that, but I'm not going to put my life in danger. I don't know what type of target Dubs has on his back. No bullshit, in reality, I really don't think he has a hot target on his back, because he wouldn't be out here doing what he does. You know, I mean, it's really not that hard to locate an individual. You know, people say he stays in his shacked up in his room or his box or wherever he's at. You got to come out at one point in time or another. You know what I mean? I mean, I like solidarity myself, you know what I mean? But I still love to get out there and wiggle. So that's the difference right there. But now, like I said in the past, well, I said in Dub's video, if we were to cross paths in the system and if we were to get in the same holding tank, Dubs already knows what time it is. It's common sense. We come from the same umbrella. Would it be personal? Absolutely not. It would be strictly business. Because at the end of the day, he hasn't done nothing that affected me personally or anybody around me or any of my homeboys. Now, if he had did something that did affected any of my homeboys, and if I had action to, I would have to react to the situation. Why? Because it's my homeboy. But then that's where I would have to make that executive decision. Do I want a chance getting snatched up and sent away? Or do I just act like I never seen him? One never knows, you know what I mean? Unless you're put in that situation. But yeah, like I said, I don't even really like to think on that, because I tell you one thing, whatever Dubs did is between whoever he crossed and himself. You see what I'm saying? I know a lot of people try to say that he shot a kid, but I don't understand that. He didn't do that. He was a kid himself. He shot somebody that was actually an adult. You know, I mean, at least that's what's said. I don't know, you know, because like I said, I'm not even getting into that. How I jumped to Dubs, I don't know. Well, anyways, back to Gunnerz Collective. My G, keep doing your thing. If we ever cross paths, my boy, we're going to eat a motherfucking chicken burrito, because, you know, I like to stay on point. You could eat whatever you want, my G. But, yeah, I would break bread with you, chop it up. You already know you got my direct number. I got your direct number. Hey, I really appreciate when you give me advice, because, you know, I get stuck on this stuff. and you're out here doing the thing. And just a word to people. Gunnar never reaches out to me to try to justify why things are being said about him. Why? Because he knows I don't follow through with none of that stuff. You know, I'm not in that war of hate what these other people created out here on social media. You know, I will not agree to that. I don't care who it is, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get involved to that stuff, you know what I mean? I'll leave that to you guys here on the Mexica Warriors out here. That shit is like fucking foolish, you know? I'm out here being a full-time online fitness coach, man. So anyways, with that being said, man, let's wrap this video up. It's almost as long as Dub's video, man. Let's get started on that fitness journey. Hit me up, highpowerfitness@yahoo.com, or you could send me a direct message, highpowerfitness, high_power_fitness_. And remember, hit that like and subscribe button. Once I reach that 10,000 mark, we will start doing lives, people. And on my lives, everybody is welcome to pull up. Why? Because I'm non-biased. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what color you are. You're all welcome to pull up and chop it up. It's going to be a platform that is open for everyone. And there's no topic out of bounds unless it brings me out of my comfort zone. But I will let you know that I won't speak on it. I won't ignore the question. You know, you just got to bear with me because I'm a little older and slower at reading these questions. But yeah. Anyways, people, with that being said, get up and get yours.